Welcome back to Top Chart Sports. I'm Victor.
I'm Spencer.
And today, although we usually just group whatever news happens into the sport category for that week, we are deciding to do a special episode just all about Antonio Brown today because so much has happened with him, honestly, in the past year that it's at a point now where I really wanted to just do a separate issue, a separate video on it, and get your thoughts as well. And we were looking to have Brett too, but unfortunately he couldn't be here. So with that, we're going to jump into it. So let's just give a quick recap of Antonio Brown and his career up till this point. He's been with the Steelers for 9 years, not counting this 2019 season. He played in 130 games, had 837 receptions, 11,207 yards, 6 straight seasons of 100-plus receptions. He had 74 touchdowns. In those six seasons of 100-plus receptions, he had 8 or more touchdowns in all of those seasons, with 4 of them being double-digit touchdown seasons. All around, just was an amazing player for us for those 9 years. He currently ranks second in receiving yards for the Steelers, and is less than 1,000 back, so could probably pass that record in this next season, assuming he keeps up his pace. He's second in receptions, and at 163 back, it's pretty much a guaranteed 2 seasons till he takes over that category. He's second in touchdowns, 11 back, so 1 or 2 seasons, depending. Guaranteed 2 seasons for him, pretty much, and he would take over that category. He is first in yards per game for Steelers receivers at an average of 86.2 throughout his career, and that includes before he was even a starter.
Right.
So it just shows how great he's been with us. All of these records, aside from the yards per game, he was second in, as we said. This is all behind Hines Ward, and I love Hines Ward, don't get me wrong, but this isn't 87 less games played than Ward, so it's no doubt that, assuming he would stay a Steeler, he would easily take over every single receiving record that we have, and pretty much probably be known as the best receiver in Steelers history, easily in the discussion, no matter who you talk to.
And he would have smashed, all these, because, I would say that he's still got a couple years left in the tank. He would keep playing, so...
Absolutely.
He would not only break these within, 1 or 2 seasons, but keep breaking and going.
He would easily set the record to make it hard to pass in the future, assuming he stayed a Steeler for his whole career. There's many other things he accomplished along the way, 1,000 return, 1,000 receiving yards, but all these were 8 great years. And then this 9th season started just in 2018, and that is when we really started having issues. So in week 2 of last year, the Chiefs beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh 42-37, and this is where the drama actually kind of started. Something happened in that game. There wasn't really the type of communication we were used to between Ben and AB, and he didn't have a great game despite that, what the score shows, and it pretty much turned into people on Twitter, which is known for a lot of drama and talk, as saying he's just a product of Big Ben, he's not a standalone receiver, and he pretty much went out and said, then trade me and I'll prove you wrong.
So real quick to this point, I don't know if Brown is a product of Ben or if Ben's continued career is a product of how well Brown played. I feel like they benefited from each other a lot.
Yeah.
But AB is the type of receiver who can make a quarterback now.
Absolutely.
At least. Maybe when he first came in, Ben is what took him to the next level. But people saying that, AB had a right to be upset.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you just went through everything. All the stats and everything that he put up for somebody to say that, well, that's all because of Big Ben.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
So,
and honestly, it was probably a Steelers fan, and as a Steelers fan myself, for my whole life, it pissed me off because I don't want to see him leave.
No.
I don't want somebody to talk trash on what will eventually be, at this point in time, our best receiver in history.
Right.
So yeah, it's frustrating.
Think if somebody would drag Hines Ward through the mud.
Yeah, it's one season before he breaks every record.
Right.
It's ridiculous. So this wasn't, at this point in time, it wasn't AB actually saying I want to be traded. It's just making a point of, I'm not here in the position I am solely because of Big Ben. I'm here because of my talent also. if not just my talent, and I just need people to see that, apparently. So later in the season, the Steelers, after starting 7-2-1, went on a pretty hefty losing streak. In this time, nothing was really going well for the Steelers, and after one of the games, I believe in Denver, Big Ben called out a number of people for saying, you need to pick your game up, and you're not playing up to the level we're used to, or we need you to, and AB was among these players. Now, any other player on the team, it's pretty much like, okay, he's your captain. As a wide receiver especially, like, I need to step up. But AB, also being a star himself, did not like how that came out. And although, yes, he's going to be mad, if anybody has a right to do it, it's Big Ben. Like, that is the captain of the offense, that's the captain of the team as a whole. He's been there, he's one of your most veteran players. Like, if anybody is going to call out AB on that team, it's Big Ben, and Big Ben might be the only one who has a right to. So, whether or not AB deserved to have the right to lash out and be angry, he did. This is when the temper tantrum really begun. So after the season, the Patriots won the Super Bowl, second time in 3 years. They've been there all the past 3. Anyways, somewhere along the line there, towards the end of the season, AB said him and Roethlisberger did not sort out their differences, and he went, I want a better QB to play with. And further down the line, he went, I want to go to a place that can win. So his two things, he wants to go to a place that can win, and he wants a QB that in his eyes is better than Big Ben. Which leaves a few options here. Now, if you want to go into these, so that way it's not just me as a Steelers fan saying, oh, I'm limiting to this people better than Big Ben. I'm looking at, when we drew this up, we were saying, these are the teams that we believe have a QB equal or better to Big Ben, with the combination of a team that can win and actually make a run in playoffs every year.
Yep. You want me to take them?
Go.
Okay, so obviously Brady and the Pats are the number one option. They win constantly. They're constantly in the Super Bowl. It's the one team in the AFC that is consistently better than the Steelers.
Right.
Then you've got Breeze and the Saints. So again, veteran quarterback, better than Ben, I would say. Saints consistently win because of Drew Brees.
Right.
You've got Wentz and the Eagles. So Wentz is a bit of a younger quarterback, but he's proven himself, and the Eagles were just in the Super Bowl and have consistently proven themselves as a playoff team. Honestly, Brown going there would put them above and beyond. You've got Mahomes and the Chiefs. Mahomes that's a tough one because it is just one season we're looking at, but with how high-powered the Chiefs' offense was, with how good the Chiefs as a whole play, they look like a team that's set up to win for the foreseeable future. And then you've got Goff and the Rams. They were in the Super Bowl, so that's a team that obviously can win. Again, good offense, consistently winning. Goff, maybe not better than Ben, but we're looking at basically a similar thing. Then you've got other options. You've got Rivers and the Chargers. Rivers is one of the most consistent quarterbacks.
Right.
Since he's been in the league. He and Ben, I would say, are very similar. You've got Matt Ryan and the Falcons. I don't know about winning, but
Matt Ryan
is a very good quarterback.
QB, and
that
they've had some success over the past years on and off, kind of.
And then two others that we were just talking about, Andrew Luck and the Colts.
Right.
Obviously, Luck is retired, but
at the time
was a winning team. There were rumors. And then you also have Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Seahawks proven to be a winning team. I think a good thing to point out here, though, is that even though some of these quarterbacks are better than Ben, and it's some of them are better,
right?
Not all of the ones that we just named. Ben has played at an incredible level he keeps aging, and I keep thinking there's no way Ben's going to come out here and play like he did last year, and then he does.
Yeah, no, he has not necessarily shown signs of truly regressing up to this point in his career.
The Steelers have been a winning team. They are consistent year after year for the past, ever since AB's been there. they've been this is a Super Bowl contending team. This is one of the best in the AFC.
Yep.
Top 3 every single year. They're in the AFC Championship.
They haven't had a year under 8-8 while AB was there.
So this past year was the first year where they truly weren't the dominant Steelers that they normally are.
Right.
But to demand a trade after all that, whatever.
Yeah. One more fringe option, which thinking about now, we didn't type in before, but Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and that's just because Rodgers,
the talent that he is.
Yes, he is just spectacular. But the Packers really don't necessarily always come out as a winning team.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those, if Rodgers is healthy and he's playing, it has the potential to, but it's not guaranteed. Like you're going to be in playoffs every year, even. So those were all the options that we kind of sought out as possibilities or the best options for him. And after all this happened, the Steelers went, okay, we want you here as a franchise. You have meant a lot to us, but we understand you want to be traded. We understand things probably aren't going to go great if you do stay because you clearly won out. So we will look into trading you. Obviously, you need both parties' approval in a trade. It's not just we're going to say we'll trade you and we're going to take the first thing that comes or whatever's best for you. It's still around the team.
Mm-hmm.
But they were open to trading AB to anybody aside from the 3 in the division, the Browns, Bengals, and Ravens, and the New England Patriots. And this is pretty much because obviously you don't want to trade inside your division with a player like AB.
Right.
He is just too good of a talent that they don't want to face him twice a year on one of those teams. And the Patriots, because there's no team who's really dominated the Steelers in the AFC like the Patriots year after year after year. So even though the Steelers will win a game at home here and there, it's just not a weapon on that team you want to add to an already amazing team.
Exactly.
So the Bills were one of the first teams to reach out. They wanted AB. The Steelers talked with them for a little bit, and Brown, throughout the whole course, said, I'm not playing for Buffalo. This is not somewhere that I'm going to succeed. They are not going to succeed even if they get me. If you trade me there, I'm going to hold out. And he made that very clear. And between that and some other options, the trade between the Bills and the Steelers didn't work out. At this point in time, Antonio Brown made it clear he had a lot of interest in the 49ers. He was talking to Jerry Rice a lot. Jerry Rice was saying how awesome it would be if he came there. There never really was actually a ton of communication between the two franchises. It was more just Brown and Rice going on saying, hey, this is going to be amazing.
How great it would be if Antonio Brown played for the 49ers.
Exactly, like keep up the record of legendary receivers.
Right.
And he clearly thought Jimmy Garoppolo had enough talent that he could go there. The 49ers were on the up and up. That really didn't pan out. And at this point in time, New England, the Patriots, actually reached out and said, we'll give you a first-round pick for him. And that was probably the best deal the Steelers got offered. But they made it clear before they don't want him going to New England. So they declined that. Finally, this leads us to the last really big talks, which were the Oakland Raiders. And personally, I actually thought this was a joke at the time. But then AB came out and said, yeah, the Raiders are going to go on a winning, they're going to turn it around. John Gruden's here now. Apparently that means they're all on the up and up. He loves Derek Carr. He talked about how he played with him in the Pro Bowl, and man, that kid's got talent, and what an arm and stuff. And it ended up that was where he got traded to for a 3rd and a 5th round pick, and pretty much to free up the cap space, among other things. And I, as a Steelers fan, was pissed. I don't know if this is how every Steelers fan was. And this is at the time, of course. I'm furious. We got a 3rd and a 5th, and I maybe would have thought better of it if Amari Cooper earlier that year didn't go for a 1st. Because in my mind, contracts aside, because I know that plays a large role, I would much rather give it a 1st for Antonio Brown than a 1st for Amari Cooper. If
Absolutely.
I'm the GM, I don't know. That's me.
But also, at the time of this, with the whole Brown 49ers thing and how Jerry Rice was a part of it, when he got traded to the Raiders, I was like, well, this is also a Jerry Rice thing because Rice finished off
with the Raiders.
Pretty much with the Raiders. So I was like, oh, so the Raiders are just going to be that team. They're going to get these star wide receivers and use them up until the very...
Put some talent around Carr.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
We'll get into it. But yeah, absolutely. Amari Cooper. I mean, honestly, we saw what Golden Tate last year got traded for a third round pick, I think. AB and Cooper, both a lot better than Golden Tate.
Right.
But, you know, you're basically looking, that's who he gets compared to. He got traded for essentially the same
as
Golden Tate.
Right. And again, I understand AB's cap hit is a lot more than the other two. So just looking into, you had to, as a team trading for him, you had to be able to essentially be able to sign or give him an extension on his contract or a new contract.
Right.
And that's going to cost a lot more. So it really, apparently, to me, didn't leave many options for him to find a team that has a good QB, a winning team, and has the salary to give the contract he wants.
Yeah.
But he found that in Oakland, and a lot of Steelers fans at this point were just pissed. They did not like how he handled it. They didn't like that he wanted to leave. And I think a lot of it is just they are so attached to somebody who's been so great for them for the past 8 or 9 years. And although it's an unpopular opinion, I was happy for him at this point in time. I mean, I clearly didn't want to see him leave. I didn't like it at all, but if that's what he wanted, I was, at the time, more willing to focus on the 8 amazing years and even the 9th year, where he played so well for us, than focus on the fact that he became a little bit of a drama queen and wanted to head out. This takes us to the Raiders preseason, which if you followed Hard Knocks, you heard all about it, but pretty much here is how everything went down. Quick summary, because you've probably heard a lot more about this even in our different episodes than right now. So pretty much AB filed a helmet appeal because he wants to use his 10-year-old helmet, which the league deemed not safe. He then got frostbite on his feet doing an ice therapy machine, which, although is a serious injury and the pictures are disgusting, I don't know why you weren't wearing shoes, because I'm told it apparently is very common to wear shoes in there. I don't know, I've never been in one. He then lost his helmet appeal. While his feet were recovering, he filed his second appeal about the helmet for a different reason. He lost that appeal. He
threatened retirement.
He did threaten retirement. He said,
he threatened retirement if he can't use his old helmet, that he would retire.
Right.
And then he lost the appeal, and then he returned to camp.
So he didn't actually retire. That was more of an empty threat. And he, quote-unquote, returns to camp, as in his feet are good. At this point, the helmet issue we think is resolved. And he says, okay, I'm going to come back to training camp and be there for my team. And he skipped mandatory events, which clearly you're not there for your team, you're skipping the mandatory events. And the Raiders fined him for said events that were mandatory. And although to us it may be a lot of money, it came out to like a total of $50,000, which to Antonio Brown is nothing.
Yeah.
Like, that is absolutely nothing. And he starts blowing up during training camp, one of their days, in GM Mike Mayock's face about these fines, which he knew he was going to get fined for. He threw out a racial slur, among other, and a variety of curse words. It actually got to a point where it almost turned into a physical altercation. Teammate at the time, Vontaze Burfict, among other people, had to restrain him, which alone, the irony is incredible, because Burfict is one of the people who led one of the dirtiest hits on Antonio Brown when Burfict was a Bengal and Brown was a Steeler, so the fact that they're teammates and now standing up for each other blew me away. And after all that, Mike Mayock just walked away. He chose to ignore it. Stood up, became the bigger man, only to have AB follow him, and after being told the fines are staying, he punted a football away from him and went, "Find this." The Raiders announced they're going to suspend him by the team, and now they officially don't have to pay him because of everything that happened.
So he loses, it was $29 million in guaranteed money.
Right. At this point in time, they did not have to give him that.
$29 million. It's a lot of money.
Guaranteed.
Just a lot of money.
He could have been hurt for the whole year. $29 million
so
he makes.
That gets voided.
So they said they were going to suspend him. The next day, John Gruden goes on air and says AB will not be suspended, and he's going to play in our game Monday because I want him to, basically.
Then AB posts a phone call that he and Gruden had,
Yep.
Where Gruden basically was just like
Cut the shit.
yeah, like just can we, he said to AB, AB said that like people are painting me as the bad guy, which
Which he is being portrayed as, whether he deserves it or not.
right,
Even though
and
it's deserving.
he says that people just don't understand. Gruden points out that there's a lot of stuff going on with AB, and Gruden himself says you're the most misunderstood player I've ever met, and there's no doubt that AB is one of the hardest working football players.
Absolutely.
So
on the field,
right.
absolutely.
And so for this guy, for all this to be coming up and stuff, I'm sure it takes its toll on everybody involved.
Right.
Because this is difficult. You've got, like I said, one of the hardest working players in the league, and all you want is for as Gruden, as the Raiders organization, all you want is for this to work out, and you've got your stud wide receiver, you've got a legitimate offense now just with him. It's crazy. And so you just need everything to blow over, and then AB
gets released.
Asks to be released and is granted his release. So you have here basically the Steelers get a third and a fifth for
free, plus the cap space freed up.
Right.
So
because they didn't release him to take the cap hit, they traded him. So there's no cap hit on the Steelers when he gets released.
Which is suddenly the third and fifth are looking great. I mean, obviously first would have been better, but they're essentially picks we got for free because Antonio Brown now doesn't even play for them. We essentially just got handed this and the cap space, and now AB is not on the Steelers or the Raiders. And as a Steelers fan, most people think at this point in time you should be happy, and most of them probably were. And I was actually with Brett at this point in time when we found out he was being released and when exactly he could be signed by a different team, and we were not happy because we knew exactly in that moment where he was going to go.
Yeah.
And although there was a couple teams, I guess, who expressed interest, we knew right away he was going to be signed.
His market was huge.
Yeah.
Which shows that, to everybody on the outside hearing about all of these things, the appeal, I'm going to retire, frostbite, just all this drama that happened. To everybody on the outside who says, if I were GM, I wouldn't sign this guy. That's why you're not a GM, because baggage is baggage, but talent is talent. That's why Tyreek Hill still has a job. That's why Joe Mixon still has a job. That's why Kareem Hunt got signed. That's why even Ray Rice was given a second chance. Teams looked at him again when he was allowed back into the league.
And there's a tough line for GMs, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because
but in the end, you know what you're trying to do, and you're trying to put together a winning team. That's what's important. It truly.
And unfortunately, after even a season, those issues are kind of not forgotten, but kind of dismissed as I'd rather have the talent as a fan than he messed up, but he's reformed now or anything. Which whether or not they are is a whole different issue.
I mean, you look at like Ezekiel Elliott, and that guy he's been involved in all kinds of different things,
and he just got signed for the highest paid running back
contract.
So
talent
is talent.
Talent is talent. That's unfortunately, and I mean with AB, what he did, technically he didn't really do anything wrong.
Yeah, and that's
other than the fact that he is just causing, he's a distraction.
Yes,
that's.
But he actually, compared to those other players, even he didn't even break the law. Like he didn't do anything truly wrong, other than kind of being a drama queen at times or being a distraction. Like he, as far as talent goes, is one of the people worth it because.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's no harm coming to your franchise ethically by signing.
Right. And so he signs with the Patriots 1
Half
year,
hour later.
$15 million.
Yep.
This is not surprising at all.
No.
As soon as it happened, if anything, it's surprising that Kareem Hunt wasn't signed by the Patriots. It's surprising that. And you know what I'm saying? Because the Patriots have no problem being the bad guy.
Yep.
They don't.
They're already viewed as the bad guy. At this point, they kind of embrace it, and somehow, magically, I don't know if it's Belichick, I don't know if it's whatever's in the water in New England, they have a way of turning these players around. I don't know, and this one is really making me wonder, to an extent of, do do players at times do this crap just because they think the Patriots will sign them?
I don't know.
And we can get into that in a minute, but go ahead.
It was in that moment when Brown signed with the Patriots that I realized he wasn't Jerry Rice. He was Randy Moss.
Which is just so sad to hear. And it wasn't even, as a Steelers fan, the minute he signed with the Patriots, like, if you didn't see this coming, or at least as a high possibility, you are so naive. Because there's just, like that, this is what the Patriots do. They take these players and they turn them around. And a player wants, maybe naive wasn't the best word, I'll let you correct me.
Well, no, I was just going to say, there was no other option. Sure, there were teams that tried.
Yes.
But if I'm Antonio Brown, and we go back up and we say, I want to win, I want a better quarterback, it's hard to find a better quarterback than what Big Ben has been able to do.
Yep.
And there is one player that you can go around to anybody who knows a lick about football, and if they don't say Tom Brady is better, they're an idiot.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is and the Patriots, all they do is win.
And that comes back to, like...
So those are check immediately.
Yep. There's only... Honestly, going into this year now, there's only 2 teams that I see as a high possibility of coming out of the AFC. Like, if the AFC Championship isn't the Chiefs and the Pats, I will be amazed. I truly will be amazed. I think there are other teams who can give them a challenge, but I think the Patriots and the Chiefs are just too high-powered. Obviously, it's week 1, so there's time for teams to develop and come out as a threat. And I'm not saying that they won't upset them, but that's what it will be. It will be an upset. These 2 teams will end probably the top 2 in the AFC, and it will come out to one of them going to the Super Bowl. So the fact that the Patriots pretty much have already locked up, and Antonio Brown now, by going there, an AFC Conference Championship possibility, like that's what you hope for as the Steelers, is to get to that point and maybe move on. And now it's, as a Patriots player, it's almost guaranteed. Like, especially throughout the past few seasons, it's almost guaranteed they have a first-round bye. And they historically are very, very good in the actual divisional round. So there's pretty much 2 games they truly will have a tough time winning. And that's more than what AB can be promised in Pittsburgh.
Right.
That's the only place that he can truly be promised that.
Right. So I don't know how, I mean, that's everything. That happened.
So that's the summary of all the events that occurred.
So I don't know, how you want to kind of like break this down, but basically, there's just a couple of things that I think really need to be hit on. There's one thing that scares me about Antonio Brown going to the Patriots. There's one thing that scares me for Antonio Brown.
Okay.
So with going to the Patriots and with the issues that Brown has had, he now has to work with Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick doesn't put up with shit.
No.
I think Belichick will get Brown in control. But if Brown really is just like, I don't know if this was, he was with the Raiders. Yeah, some of these things started to happen, and you know what? He was just like, fuck this, I'm not playing for the Raiders. I can literally go anywhere.
Yeah.
I can get them to release me, and I can go anywhere. And then he formulated the release, and then, went to wherever he wanted to go. I don't know if that was planned from day 1. I don't know if that was planned from 2 days ago.
It was planned, though.
So
he actually, apparently, I found out as a conversation I had with someone, he apparently sought out somebody to help him figure out on social media what's the best way to draw attention that's negative without actually becoming a criminal.
Belichick doesn't put up with shit.
No.
And Brady won't put up with shit. And if Brown was unhappy with Big Ben calling him out, he better be prepared for either one of these guys to call him out. Because they will, in a heartbeat. They aren't going to stop.
Belichick going to call him out the first play that he truly messes up. That is his fault.
Yeah. And I think Brown can handle it.
Yeah.
I think he was fed up with, because Brown he was the star in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
So to be called out by somebody who is below you sucks. He's not the star in New England.
No.
Brady is.
Right.
So I think he can handle it, but that is one thing that should be monitored. I think
And that's a good thing
chance.
to note. Even when you are an elite wide receiver or any position, like you are never going to be the star in New England. Like that is Tom Brady's house and Bill Belichick's house, and Brady is the star, and that is how it will be till he retires.
To the Patriots' credit, to Belichick's credit, they turned around Josh Gordon. They really stuck with that guy. And, people thought, Josh Gordon goes to the Patriots. Oh, the first time he, has another issue, they're just going to get rid of him. They're not going to worry about it. But they didn't.
No.
They stuck with him. And people say that, Brown, same thing. I give him a week and he'll be gone because something will happen.
No.
Because nothing's going to happen. Brown's going to get there and Belichick's going to say, you've got one job and that's to play football. So play football.
Yep.
Gruden tried to do that, but Gruden's not Belichick.
No.
So.
And Derek Carr is not Brady, and the Raiders are not the Patriots.
One other thing that I want to be sure that everybody gets clear is that it wasn't a dumb move by the Raiders to trade for Antonio Brown.
No.
And
not at all.
it was not a dumb move to give up a 3rd and a 5th round pick for one of the best wide receivers that either one of us has watched play.
No, as a Raiders fan, at the time, I would have been ecstatic if that's all. I mean, you knew you were going to have to pay him, so if that's all you had to give up to pay him and have him on your team for the foreseeable future, like, they needed weapons there, especially after trading Amari Cooper.
And everybody is going to say that they should have seen, something like this coming.
Yeah.
But again, you get caught up in the talent of somebody.
Yeah.
That's what you truly see, and you say a 3rd and a 5th for that talent. I don't care what kind of baggage he's bringing. I will take that trade
And
10 times out of 10.
Yep.
Another thing to point out is Gruden is just as much involved with trading for anybody and signing anybody. He probably has more say because he's the one who says, this is what I want.
Yep.
So anybody
And
who
they
thinks
clearly
that this
spend
is all...
enough to get Gruden that they believe in him, so how are you going to pay a coach that much money and then not listen?
Anybody who thinks that, Mike Mayock, put together the trade, he's the mastermind who got AB, and he's the one who... Gruden was just as much involved. And Gruden is not to blame for this. So anybody who thinks, Antonio Brown doesn't even want to play for John Gruden, why would anybody else? No,
Gruden's the one who worked the hardest to make sure AB stayed a Raider and will play a Raider, and in the end it was just AB did not want any of that.
And he said they tried to make it work, but it just didn't. And so you got to just move forward. But I think it's important, again, that people realize that there was nothing the Raiders could do. They were pretty much doomed from the beginning. From the first bit of drama, AB is just one of those guys that if something happens, you just need to kind of just like, all right, it happened. You can't bring more attention to it, and you can't call him out for it. But in New England, they can.
They can, and they will.
And they will. So those are the important things. He's obviously, I think with the Patriots, he's going to be great. He's going to be...
I guess my question now is, easy one first. Do you think the Patriots will make it to the AFC Championship?
Yeah, but I thought that before
okay.
Brown was even going to be there.
Do you think...
This solidified. I mean, this is like, if they don't, what the hell went wrong?
Yeah. Do you think that Antonio Brown will put up the same numbers he did in Pittsburgh? Because personally, I think he'll be great there. I don't think he will.
Yeah, he'll probably put up... Yeah.
Because I see Tom Brady makes it work with the receivers he has. And he's not always used to having elite receivers there. And I think it will still be if I want to spread the ball around, or if you're double covered and I have Julian Edelman one-on-one, I'm still going to throw it to him. Like, whereas with the Steelers, it was like, you take that shot because AB is your star and he can make those plays. In New England, they don't have to do that. And I think statistically, he won't necessarily have as great a season as he has in even the past one or two with Pittsburgh. That's still saying he'll be a top 5 receiver. But that's where I'm wondering.
He's still going to put up numbers. I don't think it's going to matter.
I think he'll still have 8 touchdowns and 1,000 yards.
Which, to me, that solidifies him as a bona fide, star receiver still.
Yeah.
Number 1. And there's no way, I mean, you're right. I mean, Brady definitely has a lot of, options.
Right.
But it won't matter. Because AB's talented that even with those other options,
he's still going to get the
you're
attention.
still going to throw to AB. Because he's still going to be the guy open downfield. He's still going to... and he's still going to be the guy who makes the play, when he needs to. So, I mean, you're right to, have that kind of thought. But, Brady, Manning, guys like that who've had multiple weapons and spread the ball around, guys still come out as
star elite players. Yeah.
So.
For sure.
Obviously, as a Steelers fan, you're, heartbroken that he would go to the Patriots. I mean,
this was the one thing we were trying to avoid.
Right. But obviously, once he was released, realistically, did you see him going
anywhere else? No.
Anywhere else?
Not really. Pretty much, he actually said something in very fancy poetic words on Twitter of, if you don't treat the child right in the village, he's going to come burn the village down. It was in that moment I went, well, Oakland will already be on fire. They will not do well once he leaves. I wasn't convinced they were going to do well even with him there. He may have done well. They wouldn't. And in that moment, it came back to, he is going to easily be in one of those 4 places that Pittsburgh didn't want him. And if he wants to cause fire to the Steelers, he could go to probably the Bengals or the Ravens, but he wanted to mess with everybody, and it was the Patriots. I would have been surprised if it wasn't the Patriots, blown away. But yeah, no, I was fully ready once he was released for him to be there. So it just hurt to see it actually happen, even though we knew it was going to happen.
The one thing that I come back to, we were saying about day 1, did AB know he didn't want to play in Oakland? I don't think he did know day 1. Because I don't think he would have signed the contract. And I don't think the Raiders would have actually thought, because they could have easily traded for him, given up a 3rd and a 5th. And then once he was there, AB could have been like, all right, I really don't want to be here, but you can get a 1st-round pick from the Patriots.
Yeah.
And Oakland could have just right then and there.
Which is true.
You would have given a 3rd and a 5th for a 1st. And I think,
that's
even though it's a late
like,
1st, I would still take that because 1st round is, you can hit,
Yeah.
Obviously, you can hit with a 3rd and a 5th, but...
That's like saying in a draft, if it's the end of the 1st round and you could go, hey, I'll give you my 3rd round, I'll throw in a 5th just for your pick right now. That's a steal.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like something like that would have been worked out and happened. I don't think he would have given them any sense of hope. I think it was from drama point 1, the first helmet thing, that it was things are gonna go south here.
Yeah.
And up until that point, he was ready to play for the Raiders and excited and everything. But I don't think everybody who thinks that, Bill Belichick's been sliding into Antonio Brown's DMs going all right, now...
Since week 2 of the season last year.
All right, do this, and this. And if that doesn't get you released, we'll go even deeper. Then, you can scream at the GM and punt a football in his face and tell him to find you then. And then, honestly, just go on Instagram and ask for your release, because then how are they going to ignore that?
Yeah.
I don't think Puppet Master Belichick has been...
Is that involved?
No, I don't think so at all.
But no, the way you said it makes sense to believe that it wasn't all planned out. Because if this was planned out, the Raiders could have just gotten a 1st.
Yeah.
Or even a 2nd Edward. They could have gotten something for him as opposed to just giving up their draft picks in the end for what seems like nothing. For season ticket holders. I mean... As
a Steelers fan... losing Brown just without him going to the Patriots and everything, how did you think? I mean, obviously, we're week one in, but you were playing the Patriots, so
yeah. No, as a Steelers fan, I truly expected a loss week one.
Do you still think that Brown leaving is really going to impact your chances at making the playoffs? And
I believe we are a contender to make playoffs still, even without AB. I'm more hesitant than usual to say we have a chance at winning the division. I still think we have a chance. Like, I'm not saying because AB left, this whole team went to crap.
Right.
This is still a very solid team. And I think Juju is capable of being a wide receiver one. As it's been pointed out, and now we've seen, it's more, we don't have that duo anymore. So it's not about if Juju can step into that role, because we saw he is capable, if he can keep it up, of playing to that role. It's, we don't have anybody to step into that wide receiver 2 role. That's not proven. Like, we've consistently had 2 great wide receivers for the past decade, honestly, that have helped it work, where the wide receiver 1 can become a star, the wide receiver 2 can become a very, very good option. And you have that fallback if they just double cover Brown or whoever the wide receiver 1 is. And this is the first year we don't have that. And at least right now, and James Washington, to me, is the best candidate to jump into that role, but he's not there yet. And that's where my worry is. So I think I'm more skeptical for our passing game. I think Ben will find a way to make it work. I think we might make playoffs. I don't know if we have that deep run capability. It'll definitely be more of an upset if we can take down the Patriots, as seen in week 1.
So I feel that pretty much every football fan going into a season will try to have high hopes for their team.
Yes.
The fact that you...
I personally still have them.
No, I know. But the fact that you can realistically look and say that losing Brown, you're now saying, I think we might make playoffs. Like, yeah, I think we might win the division.
Yeah.
You have Brown, you're like, we make the playoffs. We win the division.
Yeah. No, the fact that
shows
we didn't last year blew me away. Whereas this year I'm like,
right,
that's realistic.
That again, that goes back all the way to our first point. That truly shows how good Antonio Brown is.
Yeah, for
sure. And so, to lose a guy like that sucks, and it makes it really, really difficult in a way that you wouldn't think one player could. No. But yeah, obviously now the Patriots, they won the Super Bowl again this year, so that's...
What, in 2019?
Yeah.
For the favorite. I'm not ready, and as a fan, this is more hopeful than realistic. I'm not ready to say the Patriots have won the Super Bowl yet, where it seems like every year everybody's like, the Patriots won the Super Bowl, or the Patriots will be there.
Yeah.
Realistically, I think that they will clearly be top 2 in the AFC and will be in the AFC Championship.
They would have been.
Exactly. They would have been before.
So,
this just solidified it.
Also, I don't think Antonio Brown actually makes them a Super Bowl winner.
I think they had the talent to be a Super Bowl winner before.
Right. Well, I don't really think that he... does Antonio Brown guarantee they beat the Chiefs? No. No. So... that right there just tells me, okay, so the Chiefs are still...
a contender.
Yeah, they're still just as... No, in my opinion, they're just as... I'm just as...
I still have hope that the Chiefs can beat the Patriots again. But it pretty much, especially after we lose Brown, the Chiefs are the only team out of the AFC I truly think can go into Foxborough and actually win. If there's a couple other teams where if they played them at home, they have a chance, but I don't think if New England's the number 1 seed in the AFC, the Chiefs are the only team that I think can go in and actually win.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any other point that you want to hit on with all this?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I have one last thing.
Okay.
A conspiracy theory, if you will. Bear with me, Vic.
Okay.
What if Antonio Brown, somebody throws out, you're a product of Big Ben. Brown, sitting right next to Ben Roethlisberger, best friends for 8 years, goes,
Well, apparently they were
this?
never friends.
Are you seeing this? And Ben goes, no way, man. You know what you should say? You should say, trade me, let's find out. And Brown goes, that'll show him. Says it. Then, season's going along. Things have been kind of mediocre. Ben's like, hey, man, we really got to step this up. And Brown goes, there's just no way for us to beat a super team like the Patriots anymore. It's just not possible. They start formulating a bit of a plan. Season doesn't end the way it should. Brown's like, you know what, I'm just not going to play the last game. That way we can kind of like start to drum this up a little bit. Ben's like, that's a really good idea. We should do that, totally. Then Brown's like, all right, front office, we need to trade me. Now, everybody, I have to go to the Patriots. But you can't trade me there because the fans they're going to go crazy if you trade me to the Patriots. So you can't trade me to anybody in the division. You can't trade me to the Patriots. Trade me to the Raiders. More drama there. I'll execute my release from then. Then I'll sign with the Patriots, full on knowing that I will be the bad guy. I will sign with the Patriots, and that's when it truly begins. All this happens.
So now we're into the conspiracy.
Now we're in the end game now. What if Brown destroys... He's about to burn, as you said.
I hope so. Like, there would be nothing that would bring me more joy than if Antonio Brown could go in and collapse.
Patriots go 500. They don't make the playoffs. Brown is a free agent at the end of the year. Comes back home to his baby boys in the black and gold. And he's a hero because of what he did all over again.
Okay, going off of that, because I was thinking about this. Let's say he doesn't go in and just completely corrupt the Patriots. Yeah. Let's say after this year, or even after next year, he's a free agent again. Or even when he goes to retire, do you ever see him coming back to the Steelers?
No. If we're not talking about the conspiracy anymore, no. There's no way. If we're talking realistically, I don't think he does.
Even when he went to the Raiders, there was a lot of drama, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, considering I know a lot of other Steelers fans.
Yeah.
I had hopes that he would be that guy of maybe he goes there for 4 years, maybe he comes back in the end. Who knows? By that point in time, he may not be like as elite as he is right now, and he retires a Steeler. No. He's clearly this, and yeah, I think that moment's gone.
I don't think from the beginning I thought his time. I thought right away I was like, yeah, his time with the Steelers is done. He's not going to be back.
Just the way everything went down.
Because I don't think he has that mutual respect.
Right. When I truly gave up on this possibility was when this year, again, there was a lot of drama, a lot of talk. Ben Roethlisberger was interviewed about how everything that went down, and he's like, maybe I shouldn't have called him out. Maybe this was a mistake. I just want to be friends still. And then AB went out and was like, we were never friends, which I also don't buy. Like, how do you play that well?
No, I know.
And not be friends. But I think that was the moment where he was like, I'm done with Pittsburgh. Yeah. Like 100%. That's when it became clear to me. Other people say it became clear the minute he left.
That's what I think.
And yeah, I guess as a hopeful, that was when I lost hope.
Yeah. He signed $15 million, I guess, is the vet minimum. Do you think that he just keeps, like, Kevin Durant style, going and...
To different teams?
No, just continuously going back to the Patriots.
Well, I saw if he wants to stay with them in 2020, it's a $20 million contract option. So he would have to be paid more than what he is this year. Unless there's some loophole that they probably know about that I don't.
But I'm saying, like, do you just see him going back to the Patriots 1 year at a time until...
He gets sick of...
Until he just goes, you know what, no, I don't want to...
Until he went to Super Bowl?
Until he is fed up there. Do you ever see Antonio Brown signing a big contract again? I don't. I see him... He's just going to keep signing 1 year deals. I don't see him... Or maybe 2.
I think 3 is the max he'll ever sign.
Because I don't think we'll see him, sign with the Cowboys for 4 or 5 years and then be there and end his career. No. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think
he'll keep coming back to the
he's going to
Patriots.
be like almost like hitman for hire.
Yeah, like
best team. Go ahead. $18 million to play for the Chiefs, sure.
Yep.
And then win a Super Bowl there, and then that's when he pulls back up the tweet where somebody's like, "You're a product of Ben," and then he's holding his 4 rings that he didn't win with the Steelers and.
I don't want to talk about it. But no, that's very real. I think at this point, he's clearly shown statistically he has what it takes. He hasn't won a Super Bowl. He wants to win. In one way, I don't blame him. Like, we are a contender each year. We haven't gotten it done. We had him, Lev, Ben. I understand he wants to win.
Bees.
I understand he wants to win. I hate that it's probably going to happen with the Patriots.
Yeah.
So, with that, thank you for tuning in to Top Share Sports for our special video on Antonio Brown, because clearly it's deserved it at this point.
Lots to talk about.
Please like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to smash that subscribe button for sure.
Ring that
and
bell.
especially give us your opinion on everything. Do you think it's a conspiracy from the beginning? Do you think the Patriots will win the Super Bowl with him, guaranteed? Do you think he'll ever leave New England at this point? All this, we want to know your feedback, and make sure to tune in to watch our videos for each sport each week, Monday through Thursday. That's all. On the Beer League Bench Talk.